Hey guys, I'm going to show you how to hold a set of drumsticks today. A couple things before I get started with that. Like many other things in art, there's not anything that's like objectively or naturally better about holding a drumstick one way or another. This is a very debatable, opinionated thing, and you're going to hear people all over the place say, well, this finger's really supposed to go there, or you're supposed to really hold the stick like this, or I think that this grip is better than this grip, and it's just, you're going to hear that all over the place, and there's no one correct way to hold a drumstick. What I'm about to teach you is what I have found to be very effective in the 6.5 years that I've been drumming by watching myself drum, watching how other people drum, making adjustments on my own, experimenting on my own. And what I've found is that this is a very effective way to hold a drumstick. The other thing I'd like to clarify before I show you how I actually hold the stick is that no matter what type of music I'm playing, whether I'm on like a drum set, or whether I'm on a marching snare drum, or whether I'm on a concert snare drum, or if I'm playing a steel pan, or anything like that, I always hold my sticks the same way, but the approach varies. So maybe in one of them I'll use more finger than I do wrist, or maybe one of them I'll turn my wrist faster than I would the other one, but I hold the stick the same way. And the things that I keep in common no matter how I hold the sticks is that I always hold the sticks with as many fingers as I can on the stick, as often as I can. There are going to be times where I drop fingers for mobility or for a specific purpose, but in general you want to try to keep your fingers, as many fingers on the stick as you can. You want to keep the balance point the same on the stick no matter how you're holding it. The balance point is where the stick rotates around your fingers and where it balances in your hand. And you want that to be about 1/3 of the way up the stick, roughly. And then the other thing that stays in common no matter how I hold drumsticks is that I always try to make natural motions to get the stick. I don't want to contort my body to do something that's contrary to the way that my body is naturally designed. I just want the stick to move naturally. So with all that out of the way, let me show you how to hold a set of drumsticks. So let's get started. I'm going to teach you guys how to hold matched grip with the right hand and traditional grip with the left hand. If you are a matched grip player, just hold the way I'm about to teach how to hold the right stick in your left hand, and that'll be how you hold matched grip. So let's start with one stick for now. So this stick, I'm holding this stick in what's called matched grip. And the way that I like to hold matched grip, the way I like to start, is I hold my hand out perfectly flat like this, and what I do is I put the stick along my back fingers. And in my back fingers, you're going to see this line right here that separates the pad of your knuckles, the under pad of your knuckles, from the digits of your finger. You're going to lay the stick along that line right there. See what I mean? Then you're going to wrap your back fingers all the way around the stick. Now, what I'm about to say depends on what type of music you're playing, but pretty much 90% of the time, I don't ever let these fingers come off the back of the stick. Whenever I'm playing, I always make sure that they're still wrapped around the back and that I have a nice cradle back there. But I'll get to that later. So you have these back fingers on the stick, just like that, and they're in that little line that we just talked about. So now what you're going to do is you're going to place the whole pad of your thumb, the whole pad, not part of the pad, don't let it slide off the time. Put the whole pad of your thumb on the stick. And a good visual benchmark, if you use a Vic Firth stick, you can see here that it says Vic Firth, and there's an American flag right there. I usually like to put my thumb on TH, the Vic Firth. I've had some people say that just the American flag works well, but I like my fulcrum to be a little bit higher. So I put the whole pad of my thumb on the TH on the Vic Firth, right there. So that's these 4 fingers. So now your pointer finger, this is a very highly contentious point of debate as well, as to whether the pointer finger should come around and hang off the side or whether it should wrap all the way around the stick like that. I let the pointer finger hang off a little bit, but there's still contact here right underneath what is the second knuckle of my pointer finger. It kind of maintains some wrap on the back of the stick, and I let the tip hang off. And the reason that I let the tip hang off is so that when I do buzz rolls, I'm not tempted to just grab the front end of my stick and just press into the drum. I have to use my back fingers to play the buzz stroke, which helps me. That's just a habit I do. I also think it looks slightly nicer aesthetically to have the pointer finger hanging off the front there. But again, that's just a choice you can make. If you want to hold your pointer finger around the front of the stick, I don't really care. It's whatever helps you drum best, but I have it hanging off the side there. So that's how you hold match grip. So again, you have this line here separating the pad of your, the under pad of your knuckles and the first digit of your finger. You lay the stick along that line. Put all the back fingers around that. Place your thumb, the whole pad of your thumb, on top of the stick. Wrap your pointer finger around, right there. Connect with your first knuckle on the stick. That's how you hold match grip. Perfect. So from there, if you are a match grip player, you do the exact same thing with your left hand, and you hold the stick the same way, and you're fine. But now I'm going to go into how to hold the stick with traditional grip. So with traditional grip, what I like to think about is if I'm holding my hand out to shake somebody's hand, I'm going to place the stick in the webbing of my left hand right here, not on the knuckle of my pointer finger, but in the webbing of my hand. Don't put it on your knuckle, because as you play more and more, there's going to be, like, you're going to feel pressure on your knuckles from when you hit the drum, and if you put it on your knuckles, it's going to hurt a lot. If you keep it in the webbing, there's not going to be as much pain. So here, I've got the stick pretty much balanced right here in the webbing of my hand, and the Vic Firth flag right here, or the TH, the Vic Firth, is where I am putting my thumb on top of the stick. I don't know how well you can see that, but I'm putting it right there. So it's the same balance point. As if I was holding match grip, I'd be having my thumb like right here, and with traditional grip I have my thumb right here, so I'm balancing the stick in the same point of the way up the shaft. It's about a third of the way up. So from here, we have this, we have our hand out like this. The next finger we're going to put on the stick is our pointer finger. So the way that works is your pointer finger is going to come up over the top of the stick and curl back. I don't know how well I can demonstrate this. Curl the pointer finger back inward towards you, and then you're going to attach your thumb to your pointer finger. Okay? And that attachment right there will never come off. The only reason I would ever say to detach your thumb from your pointer finger is if you're doing like a stick trick or something, and you like have to take it off to do the stick trick. But when you're actually playing, I don't think I would ever take my thumb off of my pointer finger. That's an attachment that just doesn't come off. So keep your thumb attached to your pointer finger. Now the next finger we're going to get is actually our ring finger, which is a really important finger in this grip, because that's what's going under the stick. That is what's bearing the weight of the stick as the stick comes down to the drum, and what's going to have to push it back up. It's all resting on this ring finger. When you're holding matched grip, there's 3 fingers under the stick, which helps to give it some lift and stuff like that, but it's all right here on this ring finger for this type of grip. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, but what I want you to do is put it not on the nail and not on the first knuckle, but I want you to put it just under your nail, in between your knuckle and your nail. So the stick's going to rest on your ring finger like this. Oh, that's not a very good angle. Like that, where you have, sorry if it's really hard to see from this angle, but you have the stick just under your nail and just above your knuckle right here. I find that the further up the stick is on my ring finger, the better control I have of it. If I let the stick slide down to like here, you can't really use the ring finger to push up as much. If you have the tip of the ring finger under the stick, you can push up quite a bit better. But I don't like to put it on my nail because I play marching percussion and that requires a lot of force. So I usually get calluses right here on my ring finger, and I don't want to put it on my nail because that would tear up my nail. And it would hurt quite a bit, so I don't put it on my nail, but I put it as far up on my ring finger without hitting my nail. So these 3 fingers are the most important. You can actually play quite a bit with just these 3 fingers, but your middle finger is going to curl up on top of the stick like this. A lot of people have it hang off here, and I don't recommend that, because as you get better and better, when you get to things like more advanced, faster double strokes, you can actually use your middle finger to help press down on the top of the stick as well to get the double stroke, instead of just having to rely on your pointer finger. So I find that it actually does help quite a bit. And then your pinky is going to come right under your ring finger to help support the stick as you have to push it up, and to bear the load of the stick as you hit the drum. So those are how you position the 5 fingers. So again, you have the stick, you have the hand coming out like this, you put the stick right here in the webbing, put the thumb on top, curl the pointer finger over, attach the thumb to the pointer finger, put the ring finger under the stick, put the middle finger on top of the stick, put the pinky behind the stick. Now, I don't know how well you can see this, I can't really rotate my hand this well, but when you're looking down at your hand, the fingers that aren't your thumb should be pointing back towards you. And you want them to be really close together. You don't want to have to spread your fingers out like this. The closer you have together, the more your hand can interact together. And as I look down at my thumb right now, I can see the top of my thumb from where I'm looking at it. I can see like my entire thumbnail from where I'm looking at my stick. So that's how we hold both the sticks. It's like this. Now, when we're actually playing, I like to think of having naturally based motions. So I explained that earlier, saying that I don't want to do anything that's contrary to how my body's naturally designed. So when I'm playing match grip, I'm thinking about a natural motion that my wrist is doing to generate the momentum to the stick. Which, for me, I like to think about pounding a nail in with a hammer. Like, if you had a nail in the center of your drum or your practice pad or whatever, and you were to hit the nail with a hammer, you would do this, right? You would turn your wrist downwards. That's the same sort of motion that we have here, and it's not at all contrary to how your body's naturally built. Then for your left hand, if you're playing traditional grip, the motion that you're going for is one as if you're opening a doorknob. I like to think about it as if I grabbed a doorknob right here and I want to turn the doorknob clockwise to open the door, and then push like that. I have the doorknob here, and then I turn my hand over. So I have the doorknob here, and then I turn my hand over. Have the doorknob here, and I turn my hand over. And that's a natural motion that your wrist can make that contributes to how you can generate momentum with your wrist to get the stick to the drum. Now, I'm talking about wrist momentum here. There are three types of momentum. There's finger momentum, wrist momentum, and arm momentum. And of those three, I like to talk about the wrist the most, just because I feel like that's the one that you get the most control with, and a fair amount of power. And it's the thing that generates most momentum. The fingers are helpful for when you get to things like much faster double strokes or single strokes or anything fast, really. And then the arm is helpful for when you're moving around the kit, or if you need a little bit more momentum to do something like molar. But we'll get to all that later. The point is that I like to think about the wrist motion as being natural, as to like pounding the hammer and turning the door, so that even once you've got the sticks held correctly, you can still get the right momentum out of the sticks by doing the right wrist rotation. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something new about how to hold drumsticks today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care.